G'day guys, kia ora, hui da. My name is Wildkard. URC Grand Final, Leinster versus the Bulls. I am very, very surprised by this result, to be really, really frank with you. I did not think the Leinster was going to just kept the hammer down for the entire game. Didn't really relent like the momentum at all the entire game, pretty much. And then, really just put the Bulls to the sword. The Bulls had to really step up the game near the end to really kind of like throw the kitchen sink at the Leinster to finally get themselves back one score. But overall, this was an absolute ruthless, merciless game of rugby. And just, there was a moment I want to just show everyone at the end of the game. I don't know if you guys seen this, but Puking Louw, it was so brutal. Puking Louw puked on the field during the live game, and only, right, to carry on and make more tackles immediately after puking. He literally made a tackle right here after puking. But yeah, that is the mentality you need, right? For rugby. You might be losing the scoreboard. You are never gonna quit until the last minute of the game, and I guess that is something the South Africans could be pretty proud of. The boys putting 100% of the efforts out there on the field, and you might be asking, what really went wrong for the Bulls? Let's go back to the previous round a little bit, right? Both teams coming to this game, in my opinion, wasn't in the best, most impressive form possible. Leinster, Prendergast didn't look that convincing last game. He did look better than I've seen him in the past, but last game was still like pretty shaky. And then I thought, that the game that they had against the Stormers, if it wasn't for the yellow cards and the red card at the end, you would have been. They might not even make to the finals based on that performance against a very, very, very good Stormers team without Sasha Fenberg on their side. And for the Bulls last week, I thought they got a little bit lucky. To be honest with you, I thought the forward dominance for the Bulls really carried their team to win the match. And 100 Pollard wasn't performing right. I got quite a bit of hate for saying that 100 Pollard's performance was pretty poor, and then based on that performance, I didn't think it was worthy, really at the level that the Springboks are looking for. And then people were all over me saying, "Oh, 100 Pollard is great," calling me all sorts of names, and telling me that's just one of the games of the season. And I thought, yeah, fair enough. I'm looking forward to see what's going to happen this week, because one of the things that I want you guys to really understand is I don't support Leinster. I don't support the Bulls. I just watch these games for entertainment, for fun, and to try to give you guys a perspective for what I see in Super Rugby, what I see the New Zealanders are doing, and give you guys a bit of a comparison, right? And one of the reasons why I thought the Bulls, especially 100 Pollard, wasn't performing last week wasn't just because of the fact that he missed all those kicks, or not last week, last round, 2 weeks ago, wasn't just because of the miss a bunch of kicks, but because of the way that he structured the attack line, the options that he selected in the attack line, and the way that he manipulated the defense. I didn't see that happening at all. So the intent, the ideas behind of what the Bulls were trying to do wasn't there from Pollard. That was the problem. It was not because he missed missing penalty kick was really crucial as well, right? But I thought it was not like the intent wasn't there, right? And just to give you an example of a player whose intent was there, but did not deliver because of pressure or whatnot. What do you call it? Ruben Love for the Hurricanes last week, despite the Hurricanes winning quite comfortably, I didn't think that Ruben Love performed to his absolute best. He had a shocking game. Knock-ons, drop balls, passes not going to the right targets, and all sorts of stuff went wrong for him. The goals missed, a couple of goals missed as well. And that's a player that had the right ideas, right? He wanted to make these plays. He tried to pick out some riskier options, and it just didn't go his way. And he had a terrible game as a result of that. But the intent was there to make sort of moves that I can see that he tried to make the moves, but it didn't work out. Whereas the Bulls last 2 weeks ago, I didn't even see the intent from 100 Pollard to try to push out of the comfort zone, to try to make something special happen. Very stale box kicking and maybe like an up and under crossfield, and that's pretty much it from Pollard. And heavily relied on the forwards to dominate the Scottish side, right? And that's the problem I had from the Bulls coming into this game. I wanted to see whether or not Pollard can take a step up. And unfortunately, guys, I don't think he did. The last maybe 20 minutes of the game, it looked like the Bulls actually step up a little bit. But a lot of the game, especially for the first 60 minutes, was super conservative. And I just, yeah, in my opinion, some of the, if you put aside the mistakes that he made, like kicking the ball dead with one of the penalties at halftime and all the knock-ons and the first try, the knock-on leading to the Leinster's first try, putting those aside, I didn't see I didn't see the variations that you really kind of want out of number 9. And sorry, out of number 10 nowadays, especially for if you want to put him up to the test level, right? And on the other side of the balance, if you look at Leinster, Sam Prendergast actually, in my opinion, taking a step forward from last week, from last round, right? Yes, he did have Gibson Park doing a lot of the work around him, but today we saw some of the backline moves where Prendergast, he would feed the ball to the first receiver and then find himself around to touch the ball twice, and that is something that we did not see Pollard do at all, right? He created an overlap by himself touching the ball twice. We saw some better variety of kicking game. Not everything worked out for him either, but we saw a lot more, strategic kicking. There was like a high ball straight near the post, just to pull pressure, aerial pressure for the Bulls, and then just a lot of different ways to try to, get the play, then, to get his players, like some of those wider, the wingers and outside centers, to get them involved in the game with different varieties of whether it's passing game or kicking game, all right? And Leinster just overall was more keen to go wide when they had the opportunity, when they saw something, and they were happy to go wide. Whereas the Bulls, for the first 60 minutes, was just like box kick, forwards running, box kick, forwards running, and the back line, players like Curdy Allensa, and Caden Moody to some extent hardly got involved for the most part of the game. And when they did get involved in the last 20 minutes, when they're really chasing the game, they did look good. Like there was a couple of Caden Moody set up a try that was disallowed, which I thought should not be disallowed. We'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. When I talk about the referee, I think that was just show the brilliance of these players. I just did not really get. And the same with Curdy Adams. At the end, he was trying to make something happen by himself, and he didn't really get that opportunity for the first 60 minutes. And in fact, he didn't really get that much opportunity in the previous game 2 weeks ago, which is my problem with some of the ideas that's happening at the Bulls, right? They have the dominance of the forward pack, and they couldn't quite, translate that into, what they say, the forwards wins the game, the backs decides by how much. You could actually argue that the Bulls forwards, was maybe winning the game a little bit. Maybe I actually don't know if they actually won the game. I think it wasn't that great, to be honest. The breakdown wasn't that great, but you could argue that in like for the previous game, the forwards won the game for the Bulls, but the backs did not really deliver the scoreline that probably should have deserved for the efforts that the forwards put in. But this week the forwards were struggling quite a bit more, albeit because obviously the Leinster forward pack is basically the national team, but still it was a really, really tough game. There were times where I thought Willie LaRue was making the decision in the backline. He does that a lot. He is the second playmaker. And then I felt like Willie LaRue was making better decisions at times, making a quick switch to go to blindside, for instance. I thought Hugh Hash had the better ideas out there than what Pollard was doing, right? So, and that's my thing. That's my thing with when it comes to 100 Pollard. Sure, I think he's always going to be a really solid option for Rassie Erasmus to bring into the Springboks. But I just don't see that Rassie will commit a lot of resource game time to him this year. Especially if especially with the way that, with what I saw he's delivering for the Bulls. I think that maybe he'll get caught in for, maybe the Welsh game, maybe against Argentina. But most of the games, I think Rassie would go for a different player out of 10. Maybe even playing out of the 9 with Grant Williams as the playmaker out of the 9, right? I think Rassie really wanted to get someone like, that can play like, whether it be like a style of Anton Dupont or in the style of Gibson Park, maybe even Wildkard, if he's been watching Super Rugby, to try to get that extra options available around the racks with a playmaker at 9. And then I think Rassie will really want to hone in on that for the Springboks, and then just really get like pretty much one of the younger guys or newer guys to go at 10 and having Pollard just as like a backup, and really, maybe a couple of games, for the rest of the year. That's my predictions. We'll see if that's gonna happen. But yeah, so I got a lot of hate for my criticism for Pollard last week. But you can't really tell me that he's done a great job this week either. So there you go, right? It is what it is. I'm sure he will, get, go up another level for the national team. But as he stands, the heads up match tonight, Prendergast versus Pollard. I thought Prendergast was more dynamic and had more better options and overall played a better game. Like it or not, right? I think Prendergast actually did a better game than Pollard tonight. In just about every aspect of the game. The referee I thought was pretty harsh for the Bulls. To be really frank with you, the scoreline could have been 21 points to 36. Because there was a try, was disallowed. So here you can clearly see the ball on the line, and the referee TMO somehow said that was not enough evidence. I mean, how much more evidence do you need? It's on the line. The referee on-field decision was no try because he couldn't see it. But I mean, if you're a TMO, I mean, how much more evidence do you need that to call this a try? That's the ball. That's the line. It's on the line. So I thought the Bulls got screwed a little bit. 2 deliberate knock-ons as well. Didn't help themselves. And then there was a Kaden Moody try that was disallowed later as well. It was just probably the best try that I saw for the Bulls in the last 2 rounds. Kaden Moody made a half break and just nice offload to Nokia and a bunch of good hands. I think it was Nokia that eventually went in and scored the try. But the hand out of Kaden Moody, the referee caught forward. The TMO caught forward. Yeah, it's and again, the TMO says he needs very clear and obvious evidence for this to be to call it a forward, and I don't think the camera angles were clear and obvious. And in fact, the ball did look like it came out of hands backwards and may have drifted forward because it was a backhanded pass. So I don't think that was sufficient evidence to call it a forward. But yeah, they cancelled 2 tries for the Bulls. With this one, I mean, the forward pass, I can say, okay, 50-50. But this one, 100% a try, was disallowed. I thought it was really, yeah. I thought it was a really poor decision from the referees there, from the TMO there twice, to say the least. The referee, Piatti, yellow cards everywhere. 3 deliberate knock-on yellow cards. Yeah, it is. I think it is what it is. I think a lot of these yellow cards, if you had a Southern Hemisphere referee, like not Southern Hemisphere, like a Super Rugby referee, probably would just being penalty only. But the Piatti was extremely strict on the possibility of a line break, and then just immediately issued yellow as a result of it. So yeah, the scrum I think was pretty good, at least for the Bulls, but wasn't able to capitalize that too much of a scrum penalty. The Leinster team has done a really good job to just quickly get the ball out and not really. I think there was maybe 1 or 2 penalties given out, but not really getting just completely dominated overall. There was one funny thing I saw from the Leinster. I mean, I have never seen this ever. I don't think. Let me know if you know another guy that binds like this. I mean, you're literally giving your guy a wedgie. The thing is, the one thing I kind of want to ask, right? Like, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it's still the case, the scrum may have changed a bit since I played. I'm pretty sure the locks don't actually push onto the hooker, because the hooker needs to use his hips to be able to pivot his hips, hook the ball. Like, I don't know if that's still the case. Maybe they just don't do that anymore. So the hooker needs to have a reasonable flexibility to be able to stick his leg up and try to hook the ball, and especially if you try to get a turnover, and if you grab him by the pants, by the hips like this, he's not going to be able to have that flexibility to try to challenge an opposition feed. Or is that just not a thing anymore? Is it just like something that teams don't do anymore? Like they just full on lock in scrum, and the hooker just basically taps the ball back. In fact, the number 9 just feeds the ball back illegally. Right? They don't call that anymore. Just throws the ball back illegally, and there's no need for a hook anymore. Is that what's happening? Because this. I actually have so many questions of what's going on here. Maybe someone can explain this to me, because that just does not make sense to me. it is an interesting buy-in to say the least, right? And yeah, outside of that, the lineouts again, I think both teams were struggling a little bit. I think maybe the Bulls struggled a bit more than Leinster in the lineouts, and the breakdown was horrendous for the Bulls. I think Leinster was definitely had the overwhelming dominance there, and the Bulls was not able to build much consistency, either for knock on or getting turned over at the breakdown, and yeah, just they were just I think one of the reasons you get turned over so quick, so often at the breakdown is because you don't have a variety in your attack, because they can see it. Everyone can see, okay, the number 7, the open side flankers and stuff can see with the next tackles it's going to be made, because they know you're just going to crash the ball, right? And then they can set themselves up for a turnover. And I think that's again comes down to the lack of ideas, out of the team. The number 9, Papier, I think that's his name. That's how you say his name. Has a pretty good boot. He's got pretty good boot. And as a result, I think the Bulls are over relying a little bit on his box kicks, and I think that's just way too many box kicks that are unnecessary. It's slow, it's predictable, and just the way that it's set up, sometimes it gets charged. It's just not, it doesn't really give you that much of a strategic advantage. But yeah, bit of a mess all around, and I just not too sure. And I think that they're over relying on that quite a bit as well in this game. So anyway, let's have a look at the stats of the game. 36 points to 7, 5 tries to 1, 59% possession to 41, 3 offloads to 12. So the Bulls actually has more offloads. 421 run meters to the 429. So Bulls has slightly more run meters. 13 clean breaks for Leinster, 10 for the Bulls. 31 defenders been for Leinster, 29 for the Bulls. That's a pretty high defenders been for both teams, to be honest with you. 57% territory to 43. Number of tackles, 158 tackles made by the Leinster, 29 missed tackles. 236 tackles made for the Bulls, 31 missed tackles. So in terms of like efficiency, like how many what do you call it? Defenders beaten efficiency. The Bulls are a little bit higher there, because they didn't have to make, they didn't have to, they didn't have to make nearly as many tackles. They didn't get tackled nearly as many times to get the same amount of line breaks. Tackle success rate 72 to 82%, so much better for the Bulls. Turnover 1, turnover loss. I don't know what this means, so we're just gonna skip that. 31 kicks in play for Leinster, 30 for the Bulls. We got 930 kick meters for Leinster, 642 for the Bulls. Like, just box kicking, you're short. The quality of the kicking, the distance is just not there, and not able to. A lot of times, Gibson Park and stuff are able to find touch after kicking the ball behind, and the box kick basically meant that you're not gonna get any of sort of strategic gang out of it, unless you get the catch from the take, right? So it just again shows the lack of kicking variety has let down the team quite a bit there. 10 lineouts for Leinster, 16 for the Bulls. No loss, 3 loss for the Bulls in their own lineouts. Quite a lot of pressure there. 84% completion rate for the Bulls. 2 lineout steals for Leinster. Scrum 6 for a piece. 1 scrum loss on 1 each. But I'm pretty sure the Bulls were more dominant overall. 1 yellow card for Leinster, 2 against the Bulls, all because of deliberate knock-ons. Yeah, crazy. 12 penalties conceded for Leinster to only 6 for the Bulls. That is crazy. Crazy amount of penalties conceded. Nowadays, you don't see teams go above 10. A double digit is considered high. So 10 penalties, if you take out the scrum penalties, 9 defensive penalties, is still quite high for this level. And, considering the amount of penalties given out, Leinster still able to win quite comfortably. To be honest, right, if you take out, the 2 tries that are disallowed, which I thought 50-50 could have been given, especially the one on the try line, and then there was like a knock-on try from Pollard, right? Suddenly, if you take those out, you add 2 tries, that's 21, and then you take a try away, that's 20 and 29 for Leinster. So the difference is only just about 1 try. So it's actually much closer than the scoreboard looks. because of the disallowed and the mistakes that teams made. But anyway, let's do a quick recap, and I got to go watch Super Rugby final. So Pollard immediately had a drop ball 6 minutes in. Tommy O'Brien scooped it up, ran 60 meters for the try, 7 points to nil. 15 minutes in the game, there was just some terrible box kicks. There was a board, the ball just got knocked out the bound around the halfway point. Gibson Park got the ball, quick line-out throw to Prendergast, an inside ball to Keenan. He ran through a massive gap and linked up with Riku Ioane, who ran into the corner. 12 points to nil. 24 minutes in, it was deliberate knock on. Billy LaRue sent off. There was the Leinster went to line out, lots of crash ball, and eventually Jack Conan crashed over for the try. 19 points to nil. 31 minutes. Leinster's gone, this is going too easy for us. They're going to take the 3. So just before halftime, it looked like the Bulls wanted to really hone in for a try before halftime. 100 Pollard kicked the ball dead. Yeah. So second half, 46 minutes. Again, there was some really nice play for the Leinster's building inside the Bulls half. The ball went out to Prendergast, and he did a little backflip to Osborne, and Osborne almost went through a little gap. He got pretty close. I think it was Osborne. It was either Osborne or it was Frawley. But anyway, Prendergast followed himself through, pick and go, and dots the ball down for a try. 29 points to nil. Then after this, 58 minutes, James Lowe got sent off for a deliberate knock-on for Leinster, and with one man in the bin, the Bulls are really starting to try to throw the kitchen sink at Leinster. 61 minutes, there was a 5 meter line out, and there was a bunch of scrums before this as well, penalty, and then there was a short crash ball coming on for the line out, and then just a little flat pass to Kanan Moody straight to the 10 channel, went in for the try. 29 points to 7. And after this, the Bulls wasn't able to build any more momentum. They did try a lot of different things. There was a Kanan Moody try that was disallowed. I think there was Curdy Ardenson was trying to make a bunch of plays out of himself. So the game definitely opened up quite a bit. The Bulls finally started to try a bunch of different things, but it was a little bit too late to get too late and too far behind to get that to claw back the score. Finally, 67 minutes. The Leinster get themselves back into some rhythm. Lots of pounding inside the Bulls half. 22. They could have taken the 3 and just run the clock down a little bit, but they just wanted to hold on to the ball. They probably camped inside the Bulls 22 for like a good 5 minutes maybe, and that's when Wildkard Louw puked on the field, and then the ball eventually crashed out to Harry Byrne, crashed in for the try, and and that's final score, 36 points to 7. I think that if you're a Bulls fan, this is going to be disappointing, but it is what it is. Leinster 2 back-to-back wins in the finals, and another one over the Bulls. The last time the Bulls lost a final at home to what is it, Scotland? Warriors? To the Scotland Warriors or whatever they're called. But yeah, it is another disappointing end for the Bulls. And anyway, let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys for the Super Rugby final that's coming up. Cheers.